Church was begun in 1847, 173 years ago. And it was begun, of course, before the Civil War. About 12 folks helped start the church. And of course, I was not here for that. But it's just been an amazing, strong church. The county actually did not exist then. We were originally part of another county. And later on, of course, 150 years ago, that's what we're talking about, I guess, is what prompted our conversation, is it's 150 years for the county now. The county was created, and they weren't sure exactly what to name it, and they named it after Rockdale Baptist Church. So I love that. I try to tell our folks often that, hey, our mission field, our first mission field, is the county that's named after us, which is right here. So many families have grandparents, and then their children, and then their grandchildren that all grow up here. And I love that. It's part of one of the things that makes, I think, Rockdale have a unique flavor to it. Well, we're staying in Rockdale County mainly because of God's calling and leading us to Rockdale Baptist Church. When we got here, my wife and I had never lived anywhere else other than Cobb County, Georgia, which is on the other side of Atlanta. In fact, my wife and myself and all of my 3 children were born in Kennesaw Hospital in Kennesaw. And so been there our whole lives and pastored church there. And before that, I was a college and singles minister. Before that, I was a youth minister. So I tell people the older that I get, the older the people are that I work with. They love that. And or some of them do. Some of them don't like it. And but we were there our whole lives. And God just started working in my heart about pursuing and looking at a different ministry, a different church. And He opened the door right here. And it was a great move. My children, of course, were 10 years younger than they are now, and they've all grown up here in Rockdale County, gone to Rockdale County schools, and love it. And we love it. We love the community. We love the people. Man, I'll never forget this. When I came down the first time to sit down with the pastor search team, I got off the interstate here in Conyers. Now, I've driven through Conyers a million times through Interstate 20. But I'd never gotten off the interstate and come into Conyers. Well, that day I got off the interstate, came into Conyers, and I started looking around, and I'm like, this looks familiar. And I thought to myself, why in the world does this look familiar? And I'm praying, Lord, why does this look familiar? And the reason is because it reminded me so much of what Cobb County looked like when I was a kid. So I remember that distinctly in the 70s, what Powder Springs looked like, and Marietta, and Kennesaw. And I say that not as a slight against Rockdale, but as a blessing to Rockdale. And I went back to kind of my childhood for a little while there and thinking that, like, maybe this is where my kids need to grow up, kind of like in a very similar atmosphere to what I grew up in when I was a kid. This church was started right under our feet, right here. In fact, we have a lady in our church. She's actually maybe one that you're going to interview. Her name's Ann McCurdy, and a great grandfather, I believe, but she can tell you exactly, donated the land for this church to be built on. That was the original plot. It was right under our feet. Well, I'm so excited to be celebrating along with our community 150 years for Rockdale County. It's a thrill that the county was named after our church, and we're just so excited to be here.